I can't believe that men are still doing intermittent fasting to accomplish peak mental states. What's going on? Alex here. In this video, I'll be discussing why you are experiencing brain fog, why you're not experiencing peak brain performance, and then make sure you stay till the end of the video, and I'll be discussing the 4 steps that you can take to improve this naturally. So what is the actual reason for poor brain performance? So the reason behind that is low testosterone. And then specifically, when I mean low testosterone, when your testosterone is low, everything else, all the other things around your lifestyle, your nutrition are not optimal as well. When you have high testosterone, everything else has to be at its peak. For instance, your thyroid hormones, your growth hormones, your anabolic hormones, your micronutrient deficiencies have to be optimized for your testosterone to be at a good state. Hence why I'm not a believer in using things like TRT, because you're only looking at one aspect of a big puzzle. So the reason most likely is micronutrient deficiencies. You're under eating, you're not eating the right macronutrient ratios, you're not eating enough calories, your thyroid hormones are not optimal, your metabolic health is not at its peak, and you're running on stress responses, hence why you feel the way you do. When you're in a state of abundance, your body will do things for luxury, such as better energy, brain function, and things like that. When you're in a state of scarcity, your body's not gonna have optimal brain function. Just think about it this way. When you have a lot of money, you're gonna buy luxuries. But when you don't, you're just gonna save everything and just have enough money to get you by, to keep you alive. Just like your body, when you're in a state of stress, the last thing your body wants to do is have all this amazing energy and brain function. All it cares about is keeping you alive. So that goes into my next point, is why is intermittent fasting not optimal? So many out here, and personally myself, I've done intermittent fasting for about 3 years. And because I didn't know any better. And what I like to do is I would wake up, I would drink coffee throughout the day, black coffee specifically, no calories. And I would just run on stress hormones, and I would think this is better because when I ate a breakfast, I would not feel in an optimal state. But the reason behind that is because my gut was compromised, my probiotics and my gut. I was eating blockers, I was eating foods that were just messing with my digestion. I was not eating the right foods. And when you do that, when you go from very shitty to shitty, obviously you're gonna go feel better. If you go from eating shitty to not eating at all, you will feel better. But if you go from a state of actually fixing your gut, because your gut health is a gateway, it's an open door for more bad or more good. So you have to be very careful. So optimizing your gut health, eating the right foods for you that boost your metabolic state, you will feel so much better. When I eat food, I don't get an energy crush. There's no such a thing in my life that I consume a meal and I feel worse afterwards. Right now, while I'm filming this video, I just had a big meal, a huge meal that most people would probably, if they ate the way they do, if they had such a big meal, they would probably want to go to sleep now. I'm feeling good, energy is going good, I'm feeling very warm, my heart rate's increasing. When I was actually checking, my heart rate is in the right range and I'm in a high metabolic state, hence why I feel so much better. But if you're eating foods that are compromising your health and are causing you, one way to check if a meal is causing a stress response is after you consume it, check your blood flow. So mine is refilling quick, I'm feeling warm. But if you eat a meal, you feel tired, you feel brain fog, you just want to go to sleep, you feel cold, that's a sign that the meal that you just consumed is causing a stress response. So you need to make a change. So I'm going to just read off a bunch of studies backing up my claims that testosterone improves overall mental capacity, just verbal memory, all that stuff. So I'm just going to quote, I'm going to pop them on the screen. Well, I'm just going to quote them. So the first 2 is testosterone makes you better at learning, task recognition, and verbal fluency. Higher bioavailable testosterone levels are associated with better performance in cognitive tests. memory recall, and verbal memory. Then next, we have it also increases the feeling of well-being, as testosterone is an antidepressant. So testosterone is an abundant state. Okay, so what if you're experiencing brain fog? What if you're in a state of your brain is not at peak state because, I don't know, you're an entrepreneur, you need that performance during the day, you work a desk job or whatever it is, you're a student that needs to learn better and things like that. Here are the ways you can improve it. But before I get into that, let me just tell you, I've worked with a lot of successful entrepreneurs. I've worked with esports players. I've worked with students that need optimal peak. And these are the steps that worked best for them. And these are the main things that I worked with them on to hit that peak state. So I usually troubleshoot their NTLS, so nutrition, training, lifestyle, and intelligence supplementation. So first of all, I've made loads of videos in regards to this. You can check them out, but I can just summarize it here. Nutrition, you need to make sure you're eating the right amount of calories, right amount of macronutrients, the right macronutrients for your needs and goals. Then for your training, you're eating the right foods, you're avoiding the wrong foods, you're eating the foods that are not messing with your digestive system. You need to follow the right steps and optimize that. Then your training, you're not overtraining as well, like 6 times a week, because after training you can get brain fog. So that's a reason as well if you're training a lot. So you need to make sure that your recovery is at a peak. Then your lifestyle, there's a lot of things that come into lifestyle, but the main things is sleep. Making sure your sleep is on point, your circadian rhythm is on point, and you're following the circadian rhythm routine, optimizing that, you're hitting the right peaks at the right time, etc. And then lastly, using intelligent supplementation. So using supplements to your advantage to take you to the next level, remove brain fog, using things like nootropics and things like that. For me, for instance, I like using things like caffeine, nicotine. Yes, nicotine can be beneficial. If you're in a good state, it can take you to the next level if you're eating the right things. I don't really recommend that much nootropics if you're in a state of stress, because it can stress you out even more. But you can use things like adaptogenic herbs, using things like vitamin B1. Speaking of vitamin B1, I remember this study that I was reading, and just when I was doing research about vitamin B1, so I'm just going to quote this here. As your consumption of carbohydrates increase, so does the need of thiamine, so which is vitamin B1, and the deficiency interferes with glycogen storage, which may cause hyperglycemia and other characteristic errors in carbohydrate metabolism. So increased intake of B1 increases serotonin disposal, which is a good thing. You don't want serotonin because that's what's going to make you feel like tired, satisfied, things like that. And it inhibits dopamine reuptake, thus resulting in a stronger action of dopamine. It is said that Steve Jobs took massive doses of B1 when he was experimenting with LSD, and said both were about equally effective as idea stimulators, but B1 did not have the trip effect. So the best bet for you is using things like B1, niacinamide as well, using things like methylene blue, and then having a lot of carbohydrates in your diet, and increases your metabolic state. And just check for yourself, when you're at a peak state, check your heart rate. It's going to be at a high heart rate, 80 to 86, and that should be your goal, to be consistently at that state. When you wake up, that should be your heart rate, and so on. So that being said, I hope you got some value out of these videos. Now you know how to optimize your mental health and optimize and the reasons why you're struggling with mental performance and things like that. So yeah, that being said, see you in the next video. Peace.